Loki, the god of mischief, has a plan that could mean the end of Earth. In his pursuit of power, he strikes a deal with an alien race, the S.H.I.E.L.D, in exchange for their army in the ultimate weapon, the Tesseract. This mysterious energy source, which has already caused chaos before, now holds the key to Loki's ambition to conquer Earth and prove himself its rightful ruler. Loki emerges from a blazing portal that rips through the S.H.I.E.L.D research facility. The Tesseract, a glowing blue cube of limitless energy, has activated unexpectedly, summoning Loki to Earth. He steps out with his scepter gleaming, his smirk exuding arrogance. The scientists and agents are stunned as the god of mischief takes control of the room. Loki doesn't waste time. He confronts Nick Fury, declaring his intention to rule humanity. His voice is calm but laced with menace. Using the hypnotic power of his scepter, he enslaves Dr. Eric Selvig and Agent Clint Barton, turning them into loyal puppets. As chaos ensues, Loki seizes the Tesseract and escapes, leaving Fury no choice but to order the facility's evacuation. Explosions rock the base, debris flies everywhere, and Fury watches helplessly as Loki disappears into the night with Earth's greatest power source. Nick Fury, now faced with an alien invasion threat, calls an emergency meeting with Agent Maria Hill and his team. They assess the damage caused by Loki's attack, realizing the danger posed by the stolen Tesseract. Fury speaks with urgency, explaining that this is no ordinary criminal. Loki is a god, and Earth is woefully unprepared for what's coming. Determined to protect humanity, Fury decides to reactivate the Avengers initiative, a dormant plan to unite the world's most powerful individuals. Maria Hill is skeptical. She questions whether such volatile personalities can work together. But Fury remains resolute. He knows this is their only shot at survival. Agent Natasha Romanoff, also known as Black Widow, receives her orders to find Dr. Bruce Banner. Her mission takes her to the bustling streets of Calcutta, where Banner has been living a quiet life, treating the sick and avoiding conflict. Natasha approaches him cautiously, knowing the slightest mistake could awaken the Hulk. Banner is hesitant, aware of the destruction he could unleash if things go wrong. Natasha, however, is persuasive. She assures him they need his scientific expertise, not the Hulk. Her words strike a chord, and Banner reluctantly agrees, though his anxiety about rejoining the world is palpable. Captain America, now lost in the modern world, is training alone in a gym, shadowboxing with a sense of disorientation. The world around him feels different, and he's constantly reminded of how much has changed since he was frozen in ice. Suddenly, Nick Fury enters, his stern demeanor cutting through the silence. He tells Steve about the mission to retrieve the Tesseract, a device of immense power that has fallen into the wrong hands. Fury's urgency sparks something in Steve. Although the modern world feels alien, Steve recognizes a fight worth fighting for. He stands, nodding grimly, ready to return to action. This isn't just about the mission, it's a chance for him to find a purpose again. Fury hands Steve his shield, and the weight of the responsibility hits Steve. There's no turning back now, but for Steve, the fight has always been personal. At his expansive home, Tony Stark lounges in his workshop, surrounded by the remnants of his latest projects. He's tinkering with his gadgets, always in his own world, when Agent Phil Coulson arrives. Coulson's visit isn't a casual one, he's there to deliver an urgent message. Stark listens skeptically as Coulson explains the situation with Loki and the Tesseract. Stark's ego is evident as he mocks the seriousness of the situation, but Coulson's insistence gets his attention. With a hint of curiosity, Stark begins to dive into the research surrounding the Tesseract, a source of limitless energy. He quickly realizes the potential danger it holds. As Coulson leaves, Stark's curiosity is piqued. The genius billionaire may act like he's uninterested, but his sharp mind can't ignore the stakes, and he begins to prep for what's to come. The gears in Stark's mind are already turning as he considers how to outsmart Loki. Loki, confident in his power, decides to make a bold statement in Stuttgart, Germany. He strides into the city square, and with a flick of his scepter, he commands the crowd to kneel before him. His voice is smooth, charismatic, and terrifying as he talks about freedom and control, offering his vision of a world under his reign. The people are terrified, forced into submission, as Loki's godly presence dominates the scene. His arrogance oozes through every word. But just as he's basking in his perceived victory, the Avengers arrive: Captain America, Iron Man, and Black Widow. They challenge Loki, ready to stop him, though Loki doesn't seem worried. With his scepter glowing ominously, Loki taunts the heroes, but they engage him head-on. The battle that follows is fast-paced and intense, with Iron Man shooting beams of energy, Captain America leaping into action, and Black Widow darting through the chaos. However, Loki, knowing he's outmatched, surrenders himself, which leaves the Avengers questioning his true intentions. This sudden surrender doesn't seem like a victory, it's too easy. As Loki is being transported back to the helicarrier, a thunderstorm erupts suddenly. Thor, Loki's estranged changed brother, descends from the sky, his hammer Mjolnir crackling with energy. He lands in front of the Avengers, demanding Loki's release. Thor, desperate to bring his brother back to Asgard and end his villainous plot, refuses to let Loki face Earth's justice. His deep voice pleads with Loki to come home, to stop the destruction he's causing. The Avengers, however, are reluctant to let Loki go, knowing how dangerous he is. A tense standoff ensues between Thor and the team, each hero reluctant to trust the Asgardian god of thunder. Iron Man and Thor clash briefly, sparks flying as Mjolnir and Stark's repulsor beams meet. Captain America steps in, trying to mediate the situation, reminding them that they have a common enemy. Reluctantly, Thor agrees to join forces with the Avengers, though his motives remain suspect. The uneasy alliance is born out of necessity, not trust, and the team prepares for what lies ahead. On board the helicarrier, tensions run high. The Avengers gather in a secure room, all eyes on Loki as he sits, bound and shackled, in front of them. Stark, ever the skeptic, begins to poke at the situation, questioning Fury's true intentions. He sarcastically prods Rogers about being stuck in the past, while the ever-serious Rogers counters, pointing out the danger Loki poses. Banner, trying to avoid conflict, remains silent, his mind preoccupied with the possibility of the Hulk emerging at any moment. Thor watches Loki with distrust in his eyes, but there's still a hint of brotherly affection. Meanwhile, Natasha Romanoff observes, calculating every word, every movement. The clash of personalities is palpable, and it's clear that the Avengers are far from being a cohesive team. The distrust and ego-driven tensions could easily tear them apart, but they know that they must work together to stop Loki's plan. As the conversation intensifies, Fury makes it clear, either they figure out how to unite, or Earth is doomed. The weight of their responsibility begins to settle in, but the road ahead remains uncertain. The team continues to investigate Loki's plan, and what they uncover shocks them. They learn that S.H.I.E.L.D, while trying to harness the Tesseract's power to protect Earth, has been secretly developing weapons designed to combat extraterrestrial threats. Captain America, always a man of principle, expresses his outrage. He questions whether S.H.I.E.L.D is really looking out for humanity's best interests or if they're preparing for war. Tony Stark, always pragmatic, sees the potential but remains uncomfortable with the idea of using such power for military purposes. The revelation stirs the group, each hero grappling with the idea that S.H.I.E.L.D, the very organization they're working for, might not be as trustworthy as they thought. Loki, meanwhile, continues to manipulate events from behind bars, knowing that his plans are still in motion. The Avengers must now face a new threat, not just Loki, but the question of whether they can trust the organization they've been fighting for. Just when it seems like the team is gaining ground, Loki's mind-controlled agents, led by Hawkeye, launch a devastating assault on the helicarrier. Explosions shake the ship as its systems begin to fail, and the Avengers scramble to defend themselves. The aircraft carrier begins plummeting from the sky, and chaos reigns as the ship's engines die. Bruce Banner, struggling to maintain control, finally succumbs to the Hulk, and the monstrous green giant rampages across the ship. Iron Man and Captain America are forced to work together to try and restart the engines, while Thor fights to subdue the Hulk. In the midst of the destruction, Black Widow faces off with Hawkeye in a heart-pounding battle. It's a fight for control, with Hawkeye's sharp arrows against Black Widow's agility and intellect. Ultimately, Black Widow breaks the mind control, pulling Hawkeye out of his trance and restoring his free will. The helicarrier, badly damaged and about to crash, is saved only by the Avengers' teamwork, but the damage is done. Loki's plan is beginning to take shape, and the team is left reeling, unsure of their next move. Amid the chaos, Loki manages to escape his cell, killing Agent Coulson in the process. Coulson's death hits the Avengers hard, especially Fury, who was close to him. The loss of Coulson sparks a fire in the team, pushing them to finally set aside their differences. Loki's escape, however, sets the stage for the next phase of his plan. He leaves the Avengers broken and vulnerable, yet more determined than ever. With Coulson's death fresh in their minds, the Avengers now understand the true stakes. Fury, with grim resolve, tells the team they need to unite if they're going to stop Loki and save Earth. They can't afford to fail. Fury's words ignite a spark in each of them, and they prepare to face Loki head-on, knowing that failure is not an option. Loki's plan reaches its terrifying conclusion as he opens a massive portal above Stark Tower, bringing down the full force of the Chitauri army. Alien ships descend from the sky, wreaking havoc on the streets of New York. The Avengers rally together, launching a full-scale defense of the city. Captain America leads the charge, using his shield to protect civilians and block incoming fire. Iron Man takes to the skies, using his suit to destroy enemy ships. Thor summons the power of lightning, taking down Chitauri forces with his hammer. Black Widow provides tactical support on the ground, helping civilians evacuate while taking out enemy troops. Hawkeye uses his arrows to take down the flying ships, his precision and skill on full display. The Hulk charges through the streets, smashing through Chitauri forces with reckless abandon, and for the first time, the Avengers truly act as a team. They fight in unison, learning to trust each other, and they begin to turn the tide in New York's favor. The Avengers, now fully united, fight in harmony against the overwhelming Chitauri forces. Their personalities still clash, but their actions are synchronized. Iron Man and Thor work together, taking down Chitauri ships in the sky while Captain America leads ground forces, keeping the streets clear. Hawkeye picks off enemies with deadly precision, his arrows striking their targets with flawless accuracy. The Hulk's rampage leaves a trail of destruction in his wake, but it's necessary for the team to break through the alien forces. The real turning point comes when Thor and Iron Man join forces to take down the alien command ship. The Avengers realize that their combined strength is what gives them an edge, and they start coordinating their attacks more effectively. The battle is intense, but with each wave of Chitauri, they gain ground, proving that when they work together, they're unstoppable. In a final act of heroism, Tony Stark decides to take the nuclear missile that Fury's superiors had launched at Manhattan and fly it through the portal. With a heavy heart and no time to waste, Stark soars into the sky, his suit struggling to keep up with the mission's urgency. The missile's trajectory is perfect, but Stark's suit begins to lose power as he flies into the heart of the Chitauri fleet. With one last push, he drops the missile into the mothership, detonating it and destroying the Chitauri's command structure. The explosion disables the remaining forces on Earth. Stark, exhausted and drained, loses control of his suit and begins to plummet toward the ground, but just before impact, the Hulk, now fully in control, leaps into action and catches Stark, saving him from a deadly fall. The Hulk's actions speak volumes, showing that he's not just a destructive force but a protector when it matters most. As he gently places Stark down on the ground, the team watches in awe. The Hulk, who was once a dangerous and uncontrollable force, has finally found his place among the heroes. Stark, still groggy from the fall, thanks the Hulk, and for the first time, there's no hostility or fear in his words. This moment of mutual respect between Stark and the Hulk is a key turning point for the Avengers. As the battle rages on, the Avengers, despite their differences, have come together as a true team. The Chitauri army is finally defeated, and New York is saved, but the cost of victory is high. The city is in ruins, and the heroes must now face the aftermath of their actions. With the Chitauri forces defeated, the Avengers turn their attention to Loki, who is still reeling from his failed invasion. Loki is taken into custody, and the Avengers stand victorious, but the battle has left its mark on them all. In the aftermath of the battle, the city of New York is left in ruins. The Avengers stand together, surveying the damage. The battle they fought has left them physically and emotionally exhausted, but there's a sense of pride in their eyes. For the first time, they realize that they are not just a group of individual heroes, they are a team, stronger than the sum of their parts. Each member of the Avengers has brought their unique strengths to the table, and through their struggles and disagreements, they have come to understand each other in a way they never expected. Fury, watching them from a distance, knows that they have finally become what he always hoped they would, a united force for good. As they prepare to go their separate ways, the bond between the team remains strong, knowing that they'll come together again when the world needs them. The Avengers have truly been born, and this is only the beginning of their journey. The final scene shows the Avengers in their separate worlds, reflecting on the events that transpire. Captain America, now fully embracing the modern world, is seen in a quiet moment of reflection, wondering where his place is in this new era. Iron Man, still as confident as ever, returns to his workshop, already planning his next innovation. Thor heads back to Asgard, his heart torn between his duty to his home and his newfound bond with Earth. Black Widow, with a quiet resolve, prepares for whatever challenges come next. And the Hulk, now at peace with his dual nature, walks off with Tony Stark, unsure of what the future holds but ready to face it head-on. In a mid-credit scene, the other reports to a shadowy figure, hinting at a greater threat looming on the horizon. In a lighter post-credits moment, the Avengers sit in a quiet shawarma restaurant, exhausted but victorious, sharing a meal in silence.